What's up, everybody? All right, I just want to let's do a what has sold. I went back 90 days because I haven't done one of these in a while, so I want to kind of catch you guys up on what has sold at the store. Store's been doing really well. Poshmark has been doing really well. Everything's kind of ticked up, and I've mentioned this in past videos. Seems like the more active we are on the page, the more we begin to sell. We get a lot more eyes on the page. So, and then if you behave yourself and you watch this video, at the end I'm going to show you what we picked up. We only picked up a few things. Candy and I stopped in at where the hell did we stop in at? It was a Goodwill in Napa. So Candy bought a, I don't know what the hell it is. It's a giant deer with big old antlers, and it holds candles, and it's really cool, and she really likes it. So if she really likes it, I really like it.
That's right.
But we went and picked that up in Napa, and on the way back, we stopped and got something to eat, and then stopped at Goodwill in Napa as they were just about to close. So we just grabbed a handful of stuff. A couple really good items.
Take out the jams, motherfucker!
So let me just go through a couple of the most notable sales that we've had here in the past. I did want to kind of include a lot of this stuff. So a few videos back, I had told you that Candy picked up on Facebook Marketplace a bunch of Joanna Parker Halloween dishes and ceramics and so forth. 99% of all that stuff is already sold. Obviously, we've just finished up with Halloween, but let's see. So let's start there, even though there was a couple of notables before that, but we're just going to start there. This first one's a Joanna Parker Halloween, the serving candy bowls. It was a set of 3. They were brand new. Candy has listed here that we paid $13.15, so she obviously broke it down to each sale or each purchase on Marketplace and per item. And those 3 dishes sold for $80. So we did well there. Another set of Joanna Parker Halloween, the Green Witch canister, and it was a little white ghost canister. They're cookie jars. I don't know that they were that big. They may have been. Anyway, $26 purchase price. That was probably both of those together, and those sold for $65. A Joanna Parker Carnival Cottage tent teapot, really cool little teapot. I don't remember if there was cups of that. I don't think so, but anyway, $13.15 for that, sold for $88. Getting away from the Joanna Parker, this is an item that we've had for quite some time. What has kind of stifled some sales on this is the shipping cost. Because it was big, not heavy, but big. This is a Hollywood Regency gold brass pink velvet vanity bench seat. In the listing you'll see it says reserved. We had somebody purchase it, and we found out they were from Berkeley, which isn't too far from us, about 45 minutes. So we just went down, made a trip, we delivered it, and then we just hung around Berkeley, got some pizza, went to there's 2 record stores down there, Rasputin's and another one. I don't remember what they are. Anyway, that sold for $150 cash on they bought it on eBay, but we ended up delivering it, so almost as a local pickup, you could say. Okay, and then back to another Joanna Parker Transpac Black Cat Loop Tail Coffee Tea Mug. So this is a coffee mug, Black Cat, body looks like a pumpkin. $10, paid for that on Marketplace, and that sold for $15. So not much in the profit margin area there, but we did get rid of it, and by this time everything has already paid for itself. All the Joanna Parkers, they've covered the cost of purchase. A pair of Uggs. We got these at a garage sale. This is a pair of Uggs, kind of faux fur lined boots. Those sold for $42. Another set of the Joanna Parker Halloween Purple Witch and Ghost Canister treat jars. So they're calling them treat jars. They're not as big as a cookie jar, but they're pretty cool. $28 purchase price on both of those, sold together for $100. Let's see. Set of 4 Joanna Parker Halloween Gus the Ghost ceramic teacups, mugs and lids. Really cool. They're 4 little ghosts. You'll see them here in the listing. Those sold. Paid $52.60 for those. Those sold for $110. Yes. Let's see. This is interesting. Okay, so I think I've probably mentioned before that Candy and I like to go to our local casino here and make our donation.
What money? Look at the stack of chips.
Normally, but with our donation, we get the casino gives us comp. How would you word it? It's essentially we earn by gambling. We earn dollars, points, or whatever you want to call them, and we can spend those. So at one time, combined, Candy and I had about $800 worth of points. We're not, big high rollers by any means. We just kind of accumulated this through time and hadn't spent any of it. And then it was made known to us that those expire. So we were like, okay, we better buy something with it. So we went to the gift shop. This particular gift shop has a large display of Pendleton stuff. So we bought this Pendleton. It's new with tags. Pendleton. It's called the Dig Deep Navajo Water Project wool blanket. So it's 100% wool blanket. It's got a really cool Aztec design on it. Really cool colors. So we didn't pay any. Well, we did indirectly. We probably paid 10 times more than what we sold it for indirectly, but whatever, be that as it may, that sold for $200. So we got something back. Let's see here. This is a pair of shoes that I got in an auction a while ago. There was a whole bunch of these, and I ended up I picked out the really good ones, cleaned them up really good. And you saw in a previous video how I had to kind of go and kind of rejuvenate some of these shoes with a process that I found on YouTube, and you can find that. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I'm smart enough to list that that video on here. But this was a pair of the shoes out of that that lot. So we got this a while ago. So these were listed in 2024. We got these maybe a year before that. So we've had these for a couple of years. Like I said, I got the low-hanging fruit out of the bag, got that listed. We had already paid for the lot. We actually spent quite a bit on that auction, maybe about $500. There was a lot of Nikes. So that one had already been paid for. So I had a bag of sneakers here next to my desk, and I ended up just picking out about another 3 or 4 pairs of Nikes. This was one of them. Cleaned them up real good. Kind of hit them with that re-whitening process. Again, so I paid $15.30 for this pair of Nikes, and they sold for $60. These were Nike neon lime green. Nike Dunks. So those were pretty cool. Let's see. Let's get some more notables in here. This we got this in an auction. A lot of the times we get stuff in an auction. I don't go hard and heavy on stuff and get into bidding wars because we're generally going after it for resale. And if the price starts jumping up high enough, that usually means that the person I'm bidding against wants it for their own personal use. So if it gets to a point where I'm not going to make any money, then I get out of it. This we found. So let's see. We paid $25. This is a discontinued. I don't know what the hell's going on here. This is a discontinued, and I'm going to try and say this. Should I even try and say it? Jean Pateau, un amour de Pateau.
Hey, quit hassling me because I don't speak French or whatever.
It's rare, discontinued. It's basically perfume and a lotion and a little bag and all that. It wasn't very big. It was maybe that big by that big. We paid $25 for that, and that sold for $150. Now, we got kind of lucky because we've noticed that a lot of our perfumes that we've got on online auctions that we were selling have been delisted by eBay. They're not allowing us to sell perfume or colognes anymore on eBay. So this one, I don't know, kind of skipped through fell through the cracks, and it sold for $150. So that was good. Let's see. Here's a Joanna Parker Standing Bowl, Buddy Pumpkin, Black Cat. This was a retired piece, so it can't get any more. $13.50. $13.15 Candy paid for that. Sold for $65. Let's see. Here's a piece that I didn't know that I thought this would sell pretty quick. It took a while. I'm kind of anyway, I don't want to get too far into the weeds of this. Just understand there is a sweet spot in eBay sales. And it's not always the biggest piece, the most rare piece is going to sell the quickest because somebody's out there looking for it. There is a sweet spot. Shirts, t-shirts, XL, 2XL. That's your kind of sweet spot right there. We've noticed smalls, extra smalls and petites, going to take a while to sell. Anything above 2XL, probably going to take a while to sell. I was kind of ignorant to that. I bought this. Now, it was new with tags. I got this at a Savers here in town, and I only paid $15 for it. It was brand new with tags. An Adidas men's Spectator jacket. It's a blue trench coat, 4XL, 4XT. So that's 4XL tall. Climate proof raincoat, new with tags. I paid $15 for that, and it sold for $70. Here's an interesting item, and I'll only include this because it was an interesting thing here. This is a vintage 1970s Vitanantonio Pizzelle Chef 300A Italian cookie maker box.
Oh!
With the box and the booklet. It's basically a waffle iron, but this one is aluminum. So we had a guy bought it, sent us a message and said, hey, is that the aluminum one or is that the cast iron one? So I did some research, everything else. Apparently the A stands for aluminum. It's aluminum. You can see it's aluminum. It's shining. So we canceled it. No, I wanted to get it because I have a customer that wants a cast iron. Okay, fine, cancel it. We sent him back his money. Be on your way. We paid $5 for this. We actually took an offer from him for $60, and then he ended up canceling. And then like 2 days later, it sold for full price for $70 to somebody else. So I'm going to include that. We paid $5 for that at a garage sale, and it sold for $70. A Star Wars Power of the Force Imperial an AT-AT walker. So if you guys are into vintage toys, it's a big piece, but I was able to break the legs down to get the shipping costs down and put it in a smaller box. This is an AT-AT. If you're not familiar with Star Wars and an AT-AT, I don't, maybe you're a fan of the middle three. I don't know. So that sold for $100. It says I paid $65 for that, but I remember buying this and a figure, action figure carry case, Darth Vader carrying case that's still listed. So I may have that purchase price pretty high. May have paid $50 for that, and it sold for $100. So, all right, let's get back to the Joanna Parkers. Joanna Parker Gus Ghost teapot with lid, new with tags. This actually is the teapot that goes with the little teacups. It's a shame that the same person didn't get all of it. $13.15. Candy paid for that. Sold for $42. Let's see here. I do want to throw some interesting ones in there too, because just to show you that some of this stuff does sell. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it. This is something that we've been holding on to for a while. Mid-century modern shiny bright Christmas ornaments. Very nostalgic. I remember my grandparents had these. We paid $20 for these. It was a big lot. It says there's 58 ornaments. We paid $20 for it, and it sold for $50. And we have sold some vintage Christmas items in the past. We do pick them up when we see them, and they're cheap enough to get. Let's see. Let's keep on trucking here. See what else we got. This one was pretty interesting. So along the lines of antique or vintage Christmas items, this is an antique 8-inch Santa Belsnickel paper mache and felt with rabbit fur beard, made in Germany. It's an old 8-inch Santa Claus, and we got that at a flea market for $5 in Lake Havasu. So I played a couple of shows a few times down on Lake Havasu, and there was just happened to be a flea market on our way out, so we stopped and we picked that up for $5, and that sold for $50. Let's what else? What else have we sold? There's some really good ones coming up, I'll tell you that right now. Here we go. My daughter calls me one day and says, "Dad, I'm at a garage sale. They're selling a bunch of stuff. You want it?" And she says, I think I've told this story on a previous video. What is it? She sends me pictures. A pair of Prada boots, pair of Burberry flats, pair of Tom Ford sunglasses, and a Juicy Couture watch. Yeah, I'm interested. What does she want for it? I don't remember exactly what she said, but I said, no, I'm not paying that for it. I'll pay whatever it was, $100 or whatever. I think it was 4 items for whatever. I don't remember. Anyway, and I broke it down. I said, I'll give her this for that, and this for that. So the Prada women's Prada boots finally sold. I think I had them listed for like 200 and something bucks. I took an offer for $184. And when I paid $30 for them. With our Cache Creek points, we picked up a brand new Vampire Snoopy warmie. So if you know what the warmies are, you warm them up, and this one was lavender scented. So we got that for free. We used our points, and that sold for $35. And then another Pendleton Woolen Mills Waith Falls wool jacquard throw blanket made in the USA. We got that with our points, and that sold for $185. Obviously, a new Pendleton, new with tags. Let's let's keep going and find some good stuff here. There's a bunch of stuff I've been going through our death piles here and just kind of pulling out stuff that I think will sell. This was a vintage chemistry men's V-neck shirt. Let's see. It says it's in a certain box, and I don't know how much we paid for it because I don't. It just got thrown in a bag, and so I don't remember what we paid for it. It's a T-shirt. We probably paid $2 to $5 for it. That sold for $24. So in the last video, I showed you a pair of boots that we picked up, the Bellevilles, and I had mentioned the previous pair of boots that sold that I picked up. I paid we'll call it $28 for this pair of Bellevues. These are Bellevue Gore-Tex steel toe military combat boots. These sold for $85. We paid $28. Out of the online auction, the music lot that we picked up, I showed that in the last video. A bunch of drum items. This was the Trick Pro 1V Bigfoot single bass drum pedal. I paid $77 for that, and that sold for $300. I took an offer on that. Here's a North Face women's Techno Ridge hoodie. This is an online auction where I picked up a bunch of polo stuff, and there was a lot of North Face stuff. There was some Carhartt, Dickies, and so forth. Paid $4.40 for this garment, and it sold for $60. I always like those profit margins. Here's this is a vintage Ferncroft 100% wool trench coat. And you'll see it says reserved. I kind of had to go through this thing and do a little shipping. It was quite a bit in shipping. I was able to get the shipping cost down a little bit. We paid $10.35 for this. Now this says it's been listed since 2023, which that's probably pretty close to when we got it. So we've had that for a couple of years. It's just been hanging and waiting for a buyer. Finally sold. Like I said, we paid $10.35 for that, and it sold for $45. And then to get you caught up, just this morning, I think this morning this sold. This is a vintage 3 Days Grace T-shirt, all over print. Don't know what we paid for this. This was in a death pile. We didn't pay that much for it. Maybe, again, $2 to $5. That's about what we'll pay for T-shirts. And that sold for $54.99 this morning. So you are all caught up. Actually, here's one more interesting piece. An antique leather daily racing form chart book. So it's horse racing, 1947. We paid 50 cents for that at the Goodwill bins a long time ago, and that sold for $50. So that was a pretty good get. That's it for eBay. You're all caught up on eBay. Like I said, Poshmark's been going pretty good. The Ariat M4 jeans that we just listed, those sold for $38. Let's see, an old piece that we got. I don't know that I got to go through it. Anyway, this is, I mentioned sometimes that you buy stuff and you're just holding on to it for a while. That's just the way it goes with some pieces. This is a hoodie, LA Ducks versus Kings at LA Kings at Dodger Stadium. It was a 2XL. Figured it would have sold a lot quicker. That sold for $20. Some stuff we take, take an offer just to get rid of it. Let's see. This sold. We paid $15 for this. It was a Disney Store Star Wars R2D2 rolling handbag, so like a carry-on luggage, and that sold. Now how the hell do I get out of here? Oh, back to orders. That sold for $51. We paid $15 for that. Our vintage 1980s Union Pacific Railroad. This is the same lot that when I got all the Polo and the North Face and stuff. This was one of the first items that I bid on. That sold for $100, and we paid $5.50 for it. Really cool jacket, kind of a more of like a Letterman's or a bomber jackets, kind of satin. Was Union Pacific, had a really badass Union Pacific embroidery on the back, Union Pacific Railroad. So that was pretty sick. Okay, so here's a couple notable pieces. We've had this pair of shoes. I bought this pair of shoes a long time ago thinking that it was going to sell quickly. They're really cool shoes. Women's Nike Air Max 90 SEs with Princess Charming Sail Voltage Yellow. They're yellow, white, women's low top, women's Nike Air Maxes, and they had little charms that went off the side by your ankle, and I think it said Nike. Or it may have said Princess, I don't remember. Those sold for $90, and we paid $20 for those at the flea market. And I'll let me see if I can put some pictures of that on there. They're a really cool pair of shoes. I thought they would sell really quick. Our Polo Ralph Lauren trucker patchwork jacket. Again, this is an extra small, but the caveat to this extra small is that it's a denim trucker jacket, and it's got a bunch of patches on it, and it's Polo Ralph Lauren. So the extra small kind of took a backseat to the style, and that I think we paid about $75 for that, and that sold for $250. So that was pretty good. Let's see, what else did we sell here? Oh, well, I think I included this in the last one, but this will be the last one I include. The Billionaire Boys Club, orange camo. This is in a recent video that we picked up. That sold for $45, and I paid $16.30 for it. I picked that up at a Savers here in town. Okay, so you're caught up. So let's move on to the stuff that we picked up the other day, so I can keep this video a little bit short and just run you through some good stuff here, and then I'll comp later and I'll put it in here. These I have comped, and Candy just did a little bit of conditioning and cleaning up of these boots. These are Hugo Boss. Now at this particular Goodwill, like most Goodwills have everything is individually priced. This was like, there's a TV screen. Boots are $10, I think these were. Shoes were $5. Pants were $8, so on. So anyway, these are Hugo Boss Chuka ankle boots, men's, size 10. Really nice boots. These are made in Italy. Still a little bit of life there on the bottoms. And I'm gonna list these for $100. We paid $10 for them. There is one other pair that I found on eBay that's listed for pre-owned for $170. So I think $100 is pretty fair. That's about the price point that I've seen on eBay. We got this set of Lord of the Rings DVDs. They're all in there. I'm not going to pull them out, but that's the ones they are. Candy already has that listed. So I grabbed these Citizens of Humanity. They're not great, but they were probably the best ones I found there. These are Dita's. The style is Dita, D-I-T-A. Petite boot cut leg. These are 30s, size 30. Citizens of Humanity. Candy found these True Religions parachute pants. They're not true parachute pants like I remember when I was a kid. I had some parachute pants, not like these, but the goth kids like these. They're very comfortable. White stitching, very wide at the leg, like very wide at the leg. And you can they got the drawstring, so you can pull those tight. Or they just say they're just true religion. Size 29. Bang. Haven't comped these out yet. They just say parachute pant on them. True Religion parachute pants. So I've seen several, the kids, being in a hard rock band. I see these all the time. Abercrombie and Fitch. I had 2 pairs of these and I ended up just getting rid of one of them. So these are the 90s baggy low rise curve love. And they're a little bit distressed. They're black denim, button fly, holes in the knees. We all like our holes in the knees. These are a size 29, or excuse me, an 8. So there's those. All of these jeans, I think we paid $8 a piece for. All the denim that I show you were $8. These are Playboy PacSun collab. Although it says Playboy by PacSun, so that, in my opinion, that's a collab. Size 25, but they've got that right there on the that on the leg. Got some daisies there at the bottoms. What else do we have? Oh, we got the bunny down here in the front. That's the front. I'm going to list them as distressed. We got a hole in the back heel, I guess, where there would have been, your shoes. These are carpenter pants, so you get the little hoop there for your hammer. I wouldn't advise dudes buying these and wearing them on the job site. I mean, you probably get away with that nowadays, but in my day, you probably would have thrown off the roof. Let's see here. This pair of Juicy Couture, little bit worn. The juicy on the butt, not so juicy anymore. These are Juicy Couture denims, wide leg, kind of a baggy fit. Trying to stay away from the skinnies. Candy's saying skinnies don't sell anymore, and she keeps up on this stuff more than I do. So, trying to kind of, following the denim trends is, it's kind of like herding cats. We got a few more items. Got to show you. Well, I can show you those in a minute. Let me finish the denim thing here. I'll show you these in a second. I don't know why we got those, but we did. Candy found these are. What are these? Oh, these are Peter Millar. Peter Millar jeans, denim jeans, 36-30s, so decent size. He's got a little bit of paint on the front or bleach or something. It could be bleach. They're gray, still in really good condition. Yeah, they look good. Peter Millar denim. This should be the second pair. I thought there was 2 pair of the Peter Millars. Maybe not. Yeah, this is okay. So these are Peter Millar Crown Crafted 36-30s also. These are more traditional denim. Zip up fly. Look pretty good in the front. Not baggy, not nothing. Just kind of a straight leg. And then these, Candy showed me these. I'm like, those look like wrestling shoes. Pretty sure they are. They got a little bit of dirt on the bottom, but the sticker's still on the bottom. So they haven't been worn much. And if I remember correctly, she had comped these and they're well over $100. Usually wrestling shoes are. Wrestling shoes, I've gotten some track shoes that are pretty expensive. Boxing shoes can do pretty well, just depending on what you get, which ones you get. But these are Puma. They're gold. These are sick. Pumas do really well for us, but they have to be the right ones. It's like the suede low top. Those do, we can, if we can find those cheap, we'll get those, because those sell. Or some of the European model Pumas do really well. Your standard Pumas, crap. We don't even bother with those. So that's our haul. That's what we picked up, and we're coming into Thanksgiving time. So pretty soon Christmas will be here. I already see the decorations out.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full!
People got their stinking lights on their house and so on and so forth. So just give us a break for a minute, man. All right, that's what we got, guys. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for hooking us up at the stores. Stores are doing really well. Thanks for buying. Thanks for all your interest in everything. And thanks for sharing the videos. Punk Rock Picker. Share it with your friends. Do the things, man. The like, subscribe, ring the bell. Leave a comment, man. If you got something to say it. Put it out there. And we'll go from there. All right? So, thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.
Testimonial! The MC